Welcome to another episode of Off the Schneid. On today's show, we're going to be ranking the top 10 running backs heading into the 2020 NFL season. It started out with number 10. Kicking it off, we've got Todd Gurley, who moves from Sean McVay's pass-happy offense with the Rams to a more balanced approach in Atlanta with Dirk Koetter. Gurley received his lightest workload to date last season and still managed to get 14 touchdowns, which is what he averages per season. The offensive line is improving, and I could see Gurley doubling his catch total from last season. Gurley could potentially put up 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns next season for the Falcons. And remember, he's still only 26 years old. At number 9, we've got Aaron Jones, who led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last season with Derrick Henry on 70 less carries. He finished one catch shy of 50 on the season and closed out 2019 with 100 plus yards in 3 of the final 4 games. All this, and ESPN is projecting a regression from Aaron Jones. I could potentially see Aaron Jones finishing 2020 as a top 5 NFL running back. Next up, we've got Joe Mixon of my Cincinnati Bengals. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's a very capable pass catcher out of the backfield, and the offensive line is going to be what really dictates how Joe Mixon does next season. It's no secret that they've struggled in the past couple of years, but with Jonah Williams coming back and a likely addition in next week's draft, there's a potential, as long as he doesn't hold out, for Joe Mixon to jump into the top 5 in the running back rankings for 2020. Next on the list, we've got Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. He was number 2 in rushing yards last season with almost 1,500. He's an improving pass catcher and a game breaker, leading the NFL in 20-plus and 40-plus yard runs. My biggest concern is the existence of Kareem Hunt in that offense. I could see Hunt stealing some touches from Chubb and pushing him down in the rankings in 2020. Rounding out the bottom 5, we've got Dalvin Cook, who finished 2019 top 5 in touchdowns. He's a very good pass catcher out of the backfield, especially in the screen and play action game. Weeks 1 through 10, Cook averaged 99 yards a carry. Over his next 4 games, 36, and then he missed the final 2 games of 2019. The Vikings have a very good offensive line, but if injuries and wear and tear play a role, I could see Dalvin Cook falling outside of these top 10 rankings. Kicking off the top 5, we've got Alvin Kamara, who after running on one leg last year, fell to only 6 touchdowns, with 4 of those coming in the final 2 games of the season. I believe having Latavius Murray on the roster actually helps Kamara be a more dynamic playmaker, as he's caught exactly 81 balls in all 3 of his NFL seasons. He runs behind a top 5 offensive line and has a very creative play caller in New Orleans. I believe that Kamara could easily jump into the top 3 of the rankings by season's end. At number 4, we've got the NFL's leading rusher. He also led the league in touchdowns and was top 3 in first downs, 20-plus yard runs, and 40-plus yard runs. He's had back-to-back years of 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. He's in the prime of his career and is the focal point of the Titans' offense. A crazy stat is that he's averaged 5 yards a carry over his last 518 carries. Why is he so low, you might ask? A couple reasons. Fumbling suddenly became an issue last season, and losing Jack Conklin on that offensive line is really going to hurt the Titans in 2020. Coming in at number 3, we've got Quan Berkeley, who had a bit of an off year last season. If you're worried about his production, take a look at his final 3 games of 2019. He averaged almost 180 yards and had 5 total touchdowns in those games. I think the offensive line will take a step forward, and I 100% see them taking a tackle in next week's draft. I think they've got a more creative offensive mind in Jason Garrett there, and I see Barkley having a year that more resembles his rookie year in 2018. My number 2 running back is Ezekiel Elliott, who's the 6th fastest running back to get to 5,000 yards and needed only 1 more game than Adrian Peterson. He's on pace to be one of the greatest running backs to ever play in the NFL. If you take out his injury-riddled 2017 season, he's led the NFL in 2 of those 3 seasons in rushing and is number 1 in first downs in all 3. He's a capable pass catcher out of the backfield and runs behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You can't get much more of a sure thing at running back than Ezekiel Elliott in 2020. My number 1 running back is the highest paid RB in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey. Run CMC is an RB1 and wide receiver 1. He's only the 3rd player in NFL history to have 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards in the season. He had 19 total touchdowns. He's had back-to-back years with 100 catches, and he is the only choice if you're sitting at number 1 in your fantasy draft. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And if you like what you saw, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, anything to get this channel out there. I really appreciate it. Look forward to some more content coming at you shortly.